Hey guys, it's Mulligan, and welcome to episode 8 of Eternal Errors. For those new, this is a series where we analyze my misplays and open up discussion on what the correct play is in that given situation. The goal is that, hopefully, players learn from my mistakes and make the correct plays instead. After watching guys like Manu S, Lights Out Ace, Tony G, and even the lovable X Kirby across YouTube and Twitch, I have finally decided to jump into playing Traditional Armory, and it will be the focus for this week's episode. Hopefully I can do the archetype justice, as I've really enjoyed my time with it so far. Let's jump right into it. The first game we're going to take a look at is against Easy Blue, who is on Elysian midrange. An Ageless Mentor gets played here, and then Easy Blue top decks and plays Sandstorm Titan on the very next turn. After some thinking on whether or not I should save Vanquish for the target I saw get buffed, I decided to use it now. I believe I did this because I had 2 quarries in hand, and I knew I was going to get a Shadow Sigil with Seek Power to cast them. I figured I could draw into another answer to whatever got buffed between the quarries, my natural draw, and possibly discarding weapons to get back with Smuggler Stash. But in hindsight, I should have saved the Vanquish to kill the buffed 4+ cost unit, which turned out to be another Sandstorm Titan, instead of the first Titan that dropped. If the game played out similarly, or maybe even in the exact same way, saving Vanquish for the second Titan would have extended the clock for one more turn. In this particular situation, it ended up not mattering because the pause I had seen for the last several turns ended up being for a backlash my opponent was holding, which was completely backbreaking for me here, since I top decked another Vanquish. In general, though, you always want to save Vanquish for targets that are too big for your relic weapons to answer cleanly, even with buffs, and it should be one of, if not the last cards you use to remove a problem when playing Armory. The next game we'll be looking at is against Host playing Xenon Killers, which is probably the worst possible matchup for Armory. Rakano Artisan gets cleared by Dawnwalker, and I end up going down to 8 life because of it, and I'm facing lethal next turn. I top decked a second Harsh Rule, and I briefly considered going for Throne Warden first, but I go ahead and use one Harsh Rule instead, figuring the second one would take care of the other Twin Brood and whatever else came with it. But I think I should have used my life total as a resource a bit more by playing Throne Warden into the first Twin Brood and the Initiate, go down to 6 life no matter what, and Host would likely try to set up lethal by playing the other Twin Brood, given there was still another threat in hand that would also bring Dawnwalker back, then use Harsh Rule instead of the other way around. Starsteel Daisho was in hand, and you want to typically get to a game state where the board is clear so you can play it. Warden into double Harsh Rule would have done so, instead of the other way around hoping for a 4-8 Daisho. Planning ahead correctly is key for any deck you play, but I think that is even more so the case with Armory because it's less forgiving than other decks. Finally, we'll be taking a look at a game I had against Patrick R. Hickman, who seems to be on Aggro Armory. On my turn here, I equip Auric Runehammer and kill the Crownwatch Paladin first before using Torch on the Rakano Outlaw, which can be a bit loose. I probably should have went for Torch on Outlaw first before equipping Hammer for the Paladin, since my opponent did have power open, in case of a pause for a possible Finest Hour, but thankfully there was no pause, and Aggro Armory normally doesn't play Finest Hour. It's just good practice to sequence correctly though. The more glaring thing is when my opponent played Rise to the Challenge after I cleared the board with Harsh Rule. In hindsight, the card my opponent searched for was pretty obvious, a Starsteel Daisho. But I didn't think of it at the time, and it's important to stop and think about what card my opponent could search for that would win them the game. If I had, my own Rise to the Challenge for Rakano Artisan may have actually been correct, which is rare, and I did briefly consider it, but ended up not going for it. Equipping Stone Storm all alone did not get it done here. Also, the BM for my opponent was pretty good, 6 out of 10. That's it for this episode of Eternal Heirs. Thank you so much for watching. I've been enjoying my time with Armory so far, and I've found there are a lot of different nuances with the deck as far as in-game decisions go. Things like playing the wrong power card can mess up your entire early game, and I've even ran out of time on a smuggler stash, to my embarrassment, because I was so focused on planning out the next few turns. Anyway, feel free to leave a like if you liked the video. As always, if you guys would have handled any situation shown today differently, or if you have any ideas for this series, let me know in the comment section below. Feedback is appreciated. For those new, if you like what you saw, feel free to check out my previous episodes in this series by clicking the link on your screen. And also subscribe if you don't want to miss future episodes. Clicking the bell icon will guarantee that you never miss a video from me, for those that don't mind notifications. Anyway, thanks again for taking time out of your day to watch this, and until next time, take care.